Thank you, sir, for your talk. It has definitely triggered quite a few things that we can ponder about. I have two questions. One, the fact that you talked about Dharma Nirapeksha Rashtra, which is used in the Constitution, don't you think that's a very misleading term, in the sense that if you like give up dharma, then you cannot have a nation state? But rather it should be probably a faith-based thing, which is not, I mean, there should be a distinction between dharma and mata in that sense. And hello, yeah. And secondly, continuing from what he spoke about, given that secular has this, varied definitions, how do you like take on or continue a civilized debate or have a good conversation on the fact? So what normally would happen is that there would be two people and they'll be debating on something which they think is secular, and both the people will have different definitions. Conversation there.
Second question I cannot answer because that depends on the interlocutors. If people cannot agree to have a civilized debate on good intellectual foundations, then you can't help it. The first question is quite appropriate. You flagged a point. You flagged the point that the word dharma is used in Hindi, not in Sanskrit, mind you, in Hindi as the term for religion. Is it justified? In fact, I have long back objected to this use of dharma for religion. Religion is an English word, right? Like secularism. So it applies to Judaism, Christianity, Islam, first of all, and incidentally to other religions not of the book, okay? Is dharma a proper term to cover the wide range that religion covers? I don't think so. The Indian idea of dharma is something very different, which does not even require belief in a god. You can be dharmic without having belief in a god, right? Dharma is a very elastic term which includes religion partly, spirituality, it includes truth, it includes justice, it includes the cosmic order. All of that is implied in dharma, and of course ethics. So therefore, to have used the word dharma to actually be the equivalent of the European term religion is very tricky, and it introduces a lot of confusions. So I wish that Indian languages could have had another term for religion which would be more equivalent and not dharma. That would help remove a lot of confusions. You do have a point there.
You mentioned during your talk that India has shown great capacity to assimilate other ideas. And I just want to highlight something that's going on now, a particular process, where there are contradicts what we always believe being assimilated. I hope it's not off topic, but I'm talking specifically an increasing tendency in Christianity to adopt Indian Hindu symbols and rites and ways, which was not so in 75, 76. It was not so when I was very young. They used to be very rigid about these things. They wanted to stand out as being separate. But now there seems to be a tendency to want to look less separate, in fact, not separate at all. And I want to know, is that a reflection on Indians' ability to assimilate, which has stopped, and there's a fight back, or they have tried this as a new strategy to woo Indians? I really don't know. I'm very confused. I wanted your personal opinion.
You are not the only one. You are not the only one to be confused, because the Christians themselves are confused on this point. This is the debate known as the debate on inculturation. Should Christianity adapt itself, and this is not limited to India, the same problem occurred in Africa, in Latin America. Should Christianity adapt itself to the modern Mayans? Should it allow the modern Mayans to keep some of their customs and, dresses and etc., or should it impose a more rigid Orthodox Christianity? So this problem of inculturation of Christianity was addressed in Vatican II under Paul VI. Paul VI was the Pope who called for this debate.
Which year?
Vatican II was 1963 or 4, I'm not very sure. You can please check. 1960s for sure. And this was one of the questions in Vatican II, which was seen as a very progressive, adaptation of the Roman Catholic Christianity, where this problem was put by a number of bishops, some of them from India, saying that, our followers would like to be allowed to keep some of their native customs. They feel uncomfortable because, after all, why should Christianity be so Western to an Indian follower? Okay? So Paul VI was fairly progressive in this sense and argued in favor of inculturation, saying that, yes, you can adopt local customs, there's no bar on it. And then two things happened. One, certain missionaries, as you said, saw some good potential in that method, that let us look more like Indians. Let us so you had some Jesuits just exactly like Swamis, renunciates, and opening an ashram. It was called ashram. There was a famous one in Trichy here, etc. So that was one aspect. The other aspect was that a number of bishops in particular were very uncomfortable, because what they said was, look, if we go too far in this, and we allow our followers to be too close to, what Hindus look like, might that not be reabsorbed into Hinduism? Where will we draw a line? So that debate is going on, and this, depending on, so of course the more Orthodox, like especially then the arrival of the evangelists, the Protestant evangelists, complicated everything because they are extremely strict on their view of what Christianity should be. For example, Paul VI had admitted that a good human being would not go to hell regardless of his religion. This was a major departure of Roman Catholic creed. He said a good human being will not go to hell. But evangelists, Protestant evangelists, do not agree with this. So all these debates will go on. Yeah. Sure.
I agree that the idea of secularism in India is very fuzzy. I agree to that. But with the Nazism-inspired party currently in power at Delhi, if...
Excuse me, can you repeat that phrase? Yeah.
The Nazi-inspired party currently in power at Delhi, if we disregard whatever the idea of secularism we have right now, I think it's very, very fuzzy and it's going in some wrong direction. If we disregard it completely right now, won't we turn into another Pakistan?
Okay, look.
God bless you, son.
Look. This is what I call demonization. Listen. If you say this party, I have no political inclination, I want to reassure you, because I'm dissatisfied with all parties personally in India. Okay. But if you say this party is Nazi-inspired, please show me the concentration camps. No, wait a minute. You cannot use these terms without... What was Hitler's doctrine? It was Deutschland über alles. And he started military campaigns to recapture the whole of the Germanic world, which was his conception, and then extend beyond, and to impose the master Aryan race. And therefore open the concentration camp as the final solution. Where are all these things in India today? Nowhere. So please do not use cheap demonization, because this kills every intellectual debate. You remove that term, and we can have an informed, civilized debate. And I welcome any amount of disagreement, but I cannot discuss with anybody who uses demonization. That defeats the whole purpose. Thank you.
May I just one, please? Sir, one question. Why was the word secular dropped in the first place? I think that's an
You see, the word secularism, word secularism, actually I do not know. To be frank, I don't know why in 1974 who parachuted this term, perhaps Indira Gandhi herself.
The communists were part of the government. The communists or the Soviet influence was
True.
socialist secular was brought
True. See, you are right. See, as we know, you have seen all these quotes in the Constituent Assembly. So the concept of secularism was already floating about. And there was already a big debate as to whether it should be enshrined or not. And the Constituent Assembly finally decided no, that we don't need that concept. So 1974, Indira Gandhi wanted to, as we all know, to change the constitution to her advantage, to avoid certain prosecutions and so on. That was the historical background. And yes, she had an alliance with the Communist Party of India, especially she made Nurul Hasan, who was in those days governor of West Bengal, but a staunch communist. She made him Minister of Education. In those days it was education. And there was a deal, yes. And I do think, but I would request to have some further study on this to be very sure. I think you are right, sir, that it was the left parties were the ones who demanded the insertion of these two terms. But let us go. This is just a historical question. We can go and check it. It doesn't really matter in the end.
The phrase secular was used to soft rap socialist. It was a wrapping for socialism, which was the communist agenda.
See, socialism means anything and everything.
That's another wrap.
Nehru had always declared himself to be a socialist anyway. So socialism in itself was really not a very revolutionary term. Whether it was there in the constitution or not there made absolutely no difference whatsoever. The one term which made a difference was secular. But as I said, it's for the nation to decide. If you want to be if we want to be, I'm part of this nation incidentally, I'm an Indian citizen. If we want to be a secular nation, or if we don't want to be, fine, both, but let's be honest with other choices, clear on the meaning of the terms, and take the consequences to the logical conclusion, which we are not doing.
And it should be balanced all around, not unequal situation.
Thank you very much.